Hello and welcome to Secret Levels. Today we're going to be talking to our good friend Silentkaster about many things, building communities, human relations, and maybe some speedrun. Maybe. But first, we've got to introduce ourselves. My name's Myke. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Voxgizer. I'm a Resident Evil speedrunner and variety streamer sometimes. I'm joined by all of my favorite human beings. Derek.
Hello everybody, my name's Derek the Beta Cat. Welcome to Secret Levels. I stream with my eyes closed.
He does, and that was a lot more toned down than the arcade. Tony.
Hi everybody, I'm Tony, Tony2 Tiger. I also am a variety streamer, and I seem like I'm playing with my eyes closed, but really I'm not, so.
Until you throw people off buildings in Spider-Man.
That's fair.
The man who gave Mike Tyson the punk rock experience, and I think that's how I'm going to introduce you for every show, Mr. Punk Rock Ian.
It's Punk Rock Ian, retro game streamer, coming to you live from issue 546 of Better Homes and Garden.
And of course, the guest with the most. That didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Mr. Silentkaster.
Apparently I have the most. I'm Kevin, or Silentkaster, as as he's indicated. And yeah, I have the most something. We'll find out maybe later, I guess.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes, we will. Good Silent. It was a good start. How are you doing, Silent?
I am doing okay. How are all of you?
Most of us are tired. But
Yeah.
we're good.
I got the caffeine going.
Yep. I'm working on it.
Got the juice, so we're good.
I'm doing alright. How are you?
I am.
Please say you got the
Pretty
baggie
good.
of Cheerios.
Tony, if you don't.
You know, the funny thing is, I had Cheerios, but I threw them
Oh.
Is that where
no.
Tony got them?
out. Yeah.
Not the Cheerios.
Secondhand Cheerios.
Secondhand Cheerios. But they came from Silent, so they came with love.
That's true.
Yeah.
They had the grain. It was the grain kind, so it had all kinds of fiber in it.
Okay.
Nice.
Maybe that'll keep Tony warm during this snowstorm.
Don't know if that's how fiber works, but we'll try it.
You know what? I'm willing to bet. So, Silent, you, as we can see down there, are speedrunning Resident Evil Classic. The best speedrun game, as we all know.
Yes, sir. I speedrun every category.
I know, you keep making me feel bad about Chris Knife only because I can't catch up. But what possessed you to get into speedrunning?
Well, I was with a lot, I was watching for a long time. And like Eric and Witch, and quite a few others speedrunning. It was really an enjoyable experience. Then I just decided, well, I want to do it, and see how it goes. And really, it was the most, I guess, enjoyable experience I had streaming, because before that, I was doing a lot of different, just like newer games and just kind of like going on games that I missed. And as nice as that is, it just wasn't as, I guess, fulfilling to me on a stream. So
Right.
I decided to go more of the speed running, and even probably going to get into challenge runs too. So.
Right on. And you've done really well with speedrunning. I mean, you said, like, just for Classic alone, you run all the categories. And what are there, 8 categories in total? I think. I'm thinking just PC. Because there's the any percent for Chris and Jill, then knife only, then 100% knife only times 2. So 8, yeah.
Technically 16, because you got to add major glitches. So.
That's true. I didn't think of major glitches. So just for one game, there you go, guys. That's a lot of routes.
It is.
So you've taken over some spots on the leaderboards on SRC lately. Stolen, well, I wouldn't say stolen, but taken them from Witch. How do you feel about competing with Witch when you're close friends?
Right now she is in the Jill any % grind, because that's the record that she wants back
Right.
the most. And honestly, I didn't even expect to take those 2 records. I was on PB pace heading into the final fight of the game, but in both of those categories, I ended up having an amazing tyrant fight and ended up saving over 30 seconds in each, which got me the little bit of extra time that I needed for the W, I guess. So.
The big W.
I like that. The W.
The big ooh.
So, the big oh god. Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with like the level that Silent run, like his running level, 30 seconds can and will make or break a run.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a 30-second time save is insane, especially where you really need it. So what are your thoughts on Plant 42?
Plant 42 is a meme. What can you say?
It really is.
It's a meme. There's just nothing you can
He can pray.
Yeah, and just hope that you get it. That's about it. But that's it. That's all I gotta say about that.
What about the one that really got me from Remake 2 was Plant 43. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't
Capcom
think
did it on purpose.
Well, it's funny because like you think of Plant 42 and 420, people know what that is, and if you of read the history of Resident Evil, part of the game, a lot of the original game were supposed to incorporate a lot of comedy, and the reason that it developed into like a horror series is because of that first zombie, and because of how scary it was, especially because it was so early on the platform.
Well, you don't only run Resident Evil games.
I am learning. Well, I was doing Mega Man Legends. Probably not gonna do that as often. I'll probably just do them on marathons and whatnot. But and then I'm currently kind of doing some offline stuff on Final Fantasy Tactics. So
Nice.
I'd wondered.
Yeah, that's right. I think I saw the other day. I popped in. You were playing Mega Man Legends 2. I was like, oh shoot, I haven't seen this in a while.
Yes, and the S class test is really testing me at the moment. It's testing my patience, so definitely a good name for it.
Ooh. Did you get your hardcore S plus runs in on Remake 2 yet?
I got a C on Claire A, and it was 10 hours, so
Ooh.
Oh damn!
I guess that's a
PB.
PB.
Yeah.
So what have you thought of Remake 2 so far?
It's been really good. They really did a good job. I was scared a little bit that it was going to be like Resident Evil 4, and I love Resident Evil 4, but Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 are very linear games. Like you're really not wondering where you're supposed to go. You're heading in the direction you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're always moving forward.
Yeah, and Resident Evil 2, they didn't do that. They left it a little bit more open. The puzzles weren't very obvious. You actually had to think about some of them. And so I think that they did a good job being on the new platform, but still leaving it, old style. I think they did it. I think they did well.
I can agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, some of those puzzles were really like, what am I supposed to do next?
I've been glad that while I'm not as attached to the series as much as say you guys are, but I still really like Resident Evil. Like just playing the demo and like the lead up before the release, like part of me was like worrying about you guys specifically. I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna like this. Like, I mean, I think it looks cool, but I've been really glad that everybody that we've talked to that is like, like a like a serious speedrunner of it. Everybody's opinions of it have been pretty positive, so like that made me feel pretty good to see that.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I still stand by what I said before it came out. It is exactly what I thought it would be, but I am enjoying it quite a bit, nonetheless.
It has Leon in
Very
it.
good.
That's Leon.
That's true.
It has Claire in it too, which is important. So-
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't it unlock her yet?
You have to beat the game knife only with an S rank in under an hour.
If it were Resident Mario.
Refund.
Maybe.
Oh, dude.
Maybe. Go attack a liquor with a plunger. That'd be awesome. Throw mushrooms at it.
Or just replace the screaming
be
noise from the
amazing.
liquor, and it says Yahoo when it jumps at you.
The crossover we deserve. Oh
Yes.
Yahoo! Ah!
Yes, very good. Very. I
Yeah,
approve.
man, I
man.
love that.
Mr. X walks around, all he hears doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo.
Yes.
You have them
Make it-
open the
make-
door and it just...
Somebody please make
It's
this
me.
mod now. Make this mod now. Do it now.
So
Please
good.
do it. Yes.
I have to tell you about my idea for a mod for Monster Hunter later.
So how did you get
mentioned-
into... Oh, go ahead.
You bait it. Do it.
How did you get into Twitch?
Oh, good question.
So, actually, the first community I was part of was the Final Fantasy Tactics Arena community. And so we just went on there and often we recorded matches. And I didn't even realize like what Twitch was. Like, you know, because we used to record them offline and then just post them to YouTube. And then people would go on and do this Twitch. And I thought it was like more of like, I don't know if you guys know what Rabbit is, but it's like, these places where you go into a private room and you like watch somebody, you know. So that's what I thought it was. So like I thought it was just kind of like being invited to somebody's, you know, private stream, and we would all like, you know, watch the FFT arena matches. Well, then I saw this little search bar on top, and I said, oh wait, maybe I can join somebody else's, and then I started realizing like people like play games on here, and then I actually, one of the first streams I went to after I did this was another Final Fantasy Tactics stream, and it just so happens that the person that was streaming lives like 20 minutes away from me, and so I like got
Wow.
involved. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and so I started getting involved in that community, which was more of a retro gaming community. And then I streamed Resident Evil, and they were kind of like, casual playthroughs of them. And then I was like, I want to continue to stream Resident Evil because I did like Chrono Trigger on stream. It was fun. It was a fun game, but I didn't love streaming it. I probably would have rather played it offline. So
Right.
So that's what I really enjoyed streaming, was the Resident Evil and the speedrunning aspect.
Nice.
And look at you now.
Look at me now. I'm 2 years older, probably like 20 pounds heavier, and
And handsome as ever.
oh jeez.
And for those who kind of like on the same topic, Silent has done, in my opinion, a lot of good for the Twitch community, at least my Twitch
Really?
community. Silent is the person why I'm even here right now, like the secret levels, like knowing all these people. So I have Silent to thank for just about everything when it comes to Twitch. So
It's true. Secret Levels wouldn't have Tony if it weren't for Silent. And we wouldn't have Tony as well if it weren't for Silent. So we owe
maybe actually
we owe a
we're
lot
in
to
better
Silent.
place, but yeah.
Okay, Ginger.
Well, should I say? Wait,
But I
should
don't mean the
say-
archer.
Should I say that's awesome, or should I say I'm very sorry? I'm not sure which one.
That's very awesome. I'm so sorry.
All right.
But no, Silent has done a lot for all of us individually, whether it's directly or indirectly. So check him out, follow him. You'll meet people that you never expected, and it'll be worth it.
Absolutely.
Hey, you might be silent.
Oh, man.
Very well.
So, do you have any plans to run Remake 2? I'm just going through the gamut of questions I get asked regularly at this point for that one.
Oh no, that's fine. Probably not. First of all, the people that are working on that game are like multi-world record holders of other Resident Evil games or survival horror games. So, like, you have Orch competing, you have...
Orch is competing?
Yeah, Orch is third
rip
place
it.
right now. You have Trance in second place, which has
Yeah, I saw that.
an amazing Veronica run. And the other guy who has the world record right now, I don't know, but I think but from what I've heard, he speedruns a couple of other games and is very, very competitive. So, and not that I would necessarily be going for the world record, but in a game like Remake, like, the reason I like to run the older games is because I've done everything I'm gonna do in them. I've done everything. Whereas this game is gonna take me quite a while, and also considering how long it would take me to learn and what I would want to do with the game before I actually kind of throw it into speedrunning. Because let me tell you guys, anybody that's not a speedrunner, once you start speedrunning a game, you're really not. Outside of like maybe challenge runs, you can't really go back to like casual, because it's like, why am I gonna kill these zombies when I know I can just run right by them, or whatever, it's hard to go back to a casual. So saying that, what I want to, I don't want to do that to the game yet until I actually have done everything I want to do. And then also, I do have a surgery coming up in March, and I don't know what's going to go through that, so I don't want to kind of leave unfinished business, like start something and then have to come back to it a month later, whatever, so.
True.
Yeah, makes sense.
Are you still writing your blog, Silent?
I am. I actually did a blog post fairly recently. I think it was this week.
Can one of the boys grab that for the chat?
Oh yeah, we sure are. We are.
Attaboy, Tony.
Want to give a little rundown of what your blog is about to the chat, Silent?
So, I basically do a blog, it answers a lot of Twitch questions, but I go into quite a few topics, personal topics. I did a how to get hired whole post, which is a very, very long post.
I need that. Need a new job.
I've done personal advice columns for people just in their normal lives. Just pretty much whatever I feel like writing, it goes in there. And I try to do one a week. I've been really, really active lately with a lot of stuff coming up, so I haven't quite held to that, but I have done some posts, and they've been pretty recent, so absolutely.
Cool.
And speaking of the get hired post, you work in human resources, and I'm sure a lot of people could benefit from the advice you'd give from that.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah.
Sometimes, you hope, obviously not every place is the same, but but yeah, I would hope that could come in handy for some people, because there's a lot of misconceptions about how to get hired and whatnot.
What would those be?
Well, the first thing that I see a lot of people do is they try to do, like, they think that gimmicks are going to work. So they, for example, they go into building and they bring like, they want to fill out an application, or they bring like cards or whatnot, or they'll send like cute emails.
They dress up as Guy Fieri.
Right, and so a lot of times the way to get hired is to do exactly what they wanted. And that's really the first thing, because there's a lot of people that don't. And just the applications from me, even at higher level positions, the applications that I get, a lot of people just don't fill out or just don't do the proper channels. And so just making sure that you pay attention to those details and actually follow the proper channels, you are putting yourself way ahead, like you know, of a lot of others. Because there's so many people that just won't. Another thing, you know, that I always strongly recommend in pretty much any case is a strong cover letter. You want to make sure that you're telling people, I'm not just numbers and letters on a paper, but the reason that I actually want your position is because blah, blah, blah. And what might uniquely qualify you. Because there might be 5 people with the same experience you have, but maybe they don't tell them about why, in their case, you know, they would be a better fit over the others. So
Nice.
Cool. We did have a question from chat that I want to hit before we get too much further away from Resident Evil. Was if they make Remake 3, would you play it or not?
yeah, absolutely. Resident Evil 3 is awesome. I really enjoy it.
Could you imagine
Would I?
Nemesis? Oh man.
They'd have to make Mr. X even worse. It'd be like a buffed up Mr. X.
Yeah.
What you gonna do at that point?
Now, would I speedrun it? Probably not. But would I play it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So do you have any fun and interesting HR stories that you can share? like just like something absolutely off the wall crazy.
You know, probably from my old position, you know, I could share a lot of stuff from when I lived in Michigan. But let me just give you some brief stuff. I don't want to go too into detail because I don't, you know, people might be known and whatnot. But basically, we had our regular Christmas parties. We had them at, you know, just a restaurant / diner, bar kind of a place. You know, we would do that for a couple hours, and we'd have our Christmas, you know, our work Christmas parties there. They'd be fine. And then anybody in the owner's secret circle, which I may or may not have been a part of, was invited to a strip club afterwards, and it got pretty crazy there. So only a few of us, only a few were able to do that. But it was. You know, I'm just gonna say, that's one thing. But there's a lot of crazy stories from there that I would probably share in private, but to share openly, I just don't want anybody who might these people.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So as we, I'm sure they do, Ginger. Maybe. So as we touched on earlier, you have done a lot for pretty much everybody that's here across the board. You know, what do you have any guidelines or advice for people who might be starting out with Twitch or want to build their community? Like maybe they're stumbling or struggling with it and they're not quite sure how to go forward with it. Any advice?
So I would say that the first thing is you want to, and I say this in pretty much anything. The first thing you want to start from a position of, I don't know what I don't know. And so when you realize that, you realize all of the vast knowledge of how people got, big, or whatever your goals are. Even if your goal is just to have a cozy, tight-knit community, whatever your goal happens to be, I would say you want to outline that. And then you want to visit those, because we're not, you're not trailblazing. Like, it would be very hard to trailblaze anything in Twitch, goals now. You want to visit people that are going to, and network with those that are going to essentially, have the same goals or would be supportive. And unlike I'm not saying that you want to do like a follow for follow, lurk for lurk. No, you actually want to put in the groundwork and network. And I would say from a streaming perspective, you want to probably start 6 months in advance, even more if you're patient, before you even ever hit start recording. You want to see what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you, what do you like, what don't you like, because I guarantee you in everybody's stream, you're going to be able to pick out one thing you like and one thing you don't like. If you watch long enough, you will. And the thing is that, if you can take knowledge from those people, and then you will have not only will you have a solid base in building your own community, because you're going to be networking, communicating, talking, etc. But you will also be really, I guess, learning the knowledge as you go. You may not even realize it, but you will be learning the knowledge. You'll also be learning the dynamics of your community that you want to build. Yeah. You'll be learning maybe what you want to do. Maybe what you thought you wanted to do at the start won't be what you ultimately want to do. Or you'll learn how sustainable your ideas are. So I mean, I guess that's the thing, is to really take a step back, take an overview picture, and just learn everything you possibly can before you jump in, and decide to, and then the other thing would be to make an outline of what you actually want to achieve, and give yourself goals, give yourself time goals, and if you're not meeting those time goals, then it's time to either reevaluate the goals themselves or to reevaluate what you're doing, and you might have to change something up and do what you want.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I could not agree more. Like, pretty much, like, everything, like, around me. Like, I started watching Twitch, like, probably, like, a year before I ever did my first stream. Just, like, really getting into the retro community and just talking to people and just network. That is, anything good that has ever happened to me is just because of just the constant networking and watching the other retro streamers and seeing what works and what doesn't work. Like, my idea of what I was like planning on doing before I started streaming, like, it has completely changed just because of like paying attention. Like, what I thought I was gonna do, like, I had no idea about like the retro achievements, and just until I started like watching other people, like it. Yeah, I could not agree more.
Yeah, I remember. Fun fact, if you didn't know, when Ian started streaming, you wanted to be a Castlevania 2 speedrunner.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and that quickly went way out the window.
Yeah, my Game Squad, who I think he had number one, or he has number one, is
it's number one. Yeah, number one. Yep.
Yeah, one of the guys that I actually first started watching. It was that community that I got involved with after the Final Fantasy Tactics. So.
Right on.
The badges for complete like 200% in game, like, you will scroll for like a good solid 10 minutes. all the games that are mastered on there.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. Just remember, you can't knock out Mike Tyson unless you're using a CRT.
Not these guns. Not these guns.
Oh yeah, he found that out.
Nice.
So, do you have any, I guess, particular requirements when you're networking for things to look for in other streamers and things to avoid? And I know this is dipping more into like personal preference and, like you said, building your community and networking so you know what you're getting into, know who's going to be there, kind of thing. But is there anything like you walk into somebody's stream and you just look at it for about 5 minutes and you just like, you know what, I'm good, fam, later?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a few people that even that have existing communities that I personally say, nope, not for me. Just the way that they actually treat their games, or treat their runs, treat their community, whatever the case may be. And the thing is, I try to just avoid drama, so I don't talk about, I don't sit there and say, hey, that's a bad streamer. well, it's not. It just means that he's not my preference or she's not my preference. You know, like,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if they want to do their community that way, hey, there's more than one way, you know, to handle this. But you know, I mean, basically, if you know, just ask yourself, you know, can I handle this? You know, could I watch this person daily, weekly, whatever? Would I want to support? And if the answer is ultimately no, if you know, you don't have to have some grand justification. It could be, I'm bored by them. I don't enjoy the content they have. You know, the people that, you know, the environment they foster, not even necessarily them, is just not what I want. There's, you know, it's your choice, you know, and the beauty of Twitch is that unless you have some obscure game, you know, like, I'll tell you, Mega Man Legends has like, Mega Man Legends has a very small community, and I love the Mega Man Legends community. But if you didn't, if you're someone that said, don't really love this community, then you might have a little bit of a hard time in that particular game. The other thing I'll say to stay away from, just objectively, and I think we could probably all agree, you know, anything that's follow for follow, lurk for lurk, get you hundreds of followers, thousands of followers, like, real quick, because it's just unsustainable, and you're not going to get anywhere from it. You know, if what you want is numbers and that's all you want, then fine, but
you'll get them.
But you know, then why even stream? Just you know, play in your home, because nobody's really there for you. They're there for themselves, and so, you know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Feels number, man.
I swear. Feels numbers, man.
Silent, I'm curious. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm going.
I was just gonna make fun of you, but carry on.
Okay. Well, I'm just you know, I don't know, you're just an awesome person. So, like, outside of work and outside of, you know, streaming, what are some hobbies that you all are part of? You know, do you do things on the side? Do you I guess I'm just curious to know about you more as a person, as I'm sure everybody else might be.
Tony just wants your phone number, Silent.
Well, that's fine. Let me go ahead and I'll actually so I like poker. Haven't been playing in a while, but I do enjoy playing poker. I like karaoke. I actually do enjoy going out karaoke.
That's pretty cool.
Go-to karaoke song, maybe?
I actually do a lot I know you guys are gonna laugh, but I do a lot of country.
I'm
I've
surprised
done
more than
Randy
anything.
Travis. I've actually done Sugarland songs. I've done a lot of different. But I'm willing to try. Actually, Heart Alone. I've sang that. But I like travel when I can. You know, travel's kind of expensive, and you know, you gotta coincide with work. But when I can travel, I do enjoy it. And I don't know. I tell people a lot. I'm pretty boring person, actually. I kind of sit at home most of the time. You know, and just, you know, watch. If I'm not watching Twitch, I'm watching YouTube. Like, I'm one thing I've been addicted to is, like, the court show snippets where the judges are, like, reaming out the litigants, and it's hilarious. Like, so I've been addicted to watching that, but it changes from day to day. You know, what I actually want to watch. So.
Right.
Definitely.
So didn't you have a trip that was supposed to be coming up early this year?
A trip coming up this year?
Mm-hmm. I just remember the Ada cosplay thing.
Oh, in Vegas. Well, unfortunately, the stream goal was not met, so I wasn't able to. Yeah. But that's okay. I actually, you know, I had the doctor stuff back in December, so I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, because that would have been, you know,
Cosplagus,
an issue.
Ginger's got jokes.
I'm gonna hire you just so I can fire you, Ginger, for that joke.
Good stuff.
But no, yeah. Thank you for telling us about yourself. I appreciate that. It's good.
Do you have any favorite category for running in any game? Like just one that you look at and you know what, and you just think, you know what, that's what I'm gonna run right now, just because I like it more than the rest.
You know, right now, I'm kind of addicted to CVX. I'm really enjoying CVX runs, even though I hate the first 10 minutes of the game. I really do. It's just horrible, but I really enjoy CVX. For Resident Evil Classic, it's the knife only best ending categories. Those are by far my favorite categories to run.
I'll run them one day, I promise.
Of course you will. Nobody joins me and Witch in running those categories. But yeah, but those are really fun. And so those are the two, that I really enjoy. I mean, Resident Evil 3 and 2. Resident Evil 3 is kind of a meme,
It's true.
So I do enjoy Resident Evil 3, but it's more like a guilty pleasure. It's not like I really try to be competitive in it. And then Resident Evil 2 is a little bit, probably that and the remake are like my least favorite to run. I do run them, but I just kind of have to be in the mood for them. So
I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Do we have any? We have one question from Archer.
Oh, good.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Cosplagus the Wise?
I haven't. So I'm wondering if you can actually send me a very detailed Word document.
Must be in PDF format.
A 20 to 30 page document on it, in your own words, of course. And tell me exactly what happened, and then we'll take a look, find out what happened.
You did this to yourself, Ginger. I hope you're happy.
Yep. And babe, it sounded like you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
Oh, is there any other games you're looking to speedrun, or just Resident Evil?
I'd like to actually get into Super Mario Bros. 3, any percent warpless and 100%.
Damn.
Ooh, you and Ian could throw down for Super Mario 3.
Yeah. But I have to.
Yeah. I was just I did know I didn't I just like the other day beat it, warpless. But by no means were there any speed strats used. I think it took me, just if you take out like my breaks from that stream, I think it was just like a little over 4 hours, but
Yeah.
so I ain't getting on any leaderboard, but I did just beat it warpless.
Hey, it works.
Get on those retro achievement leaderboards.
Any games just in general that you're looking forward to play Silent, even if it's not speedrunning, like coming up in the next year or so?
I've been thinking about a few games. I kind of want to do like, because I don't know a lot of the stuff that happened in like Revelations 1 and 2. I've never actually played them.
Oh.
I do want to play Survivor. I've never played Survivor, even though I've heard it's a meme. And there's a few games that I just kind of like in passing, but they're mostly like retro older games. That I missed.
Right, like E.T. Gotcha.
Exactly. I also, funnily enough, I actually was by a very generous viewer, I was donated a CDI. So I actually want to get some games in on the CDI. The problem with the CDI is that everything costs an arm and a leg to for the CDI. So just to get a standard controller for the CDI is $135.
Man.
Yeah, but let me show you this wonderful. Let me grab this real quick. This wonderful.
I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, I want to see.
This is the standard. This is the standard CDI controller.
That big boy right there. Yep.
So if you want to play a game on this, you get to use the joystick up here and
change the channels.
So, yeah, is that a TV remote? That's crazy.
Put it on Mari.
And you have to aim it right in front of the CDI, whereas the other controllers are connected to it, so it's not so bad. But this one you have to sit in front of the CDI and so yeah.
Jeez. It even sounds like a TV remote when you put it down. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's a gigantic console. It's gigantic.
Yeah, those things are huge. They're like suitcases.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking that big? That's
It's like a big ass VCR.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, it's like a VCR. Probably a little tiny bit bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty massive.
Oh, they are. Oh my god, it looks like a VCR. Exactly what you said. Wow.
Tony, are you even old enough to remember VCRs?
Okay. Wait, a what? A VCR?
A what?
I swear to God. I'm gonna hit you with a VHS. You won't even see it coming. You won't know what it is. What do you hit me with?
No, he'll see it coming because those things are fucking huge, but he won't know what it is.
We could just, if we really want the full effect, if we're gonna throw giant things to Tony, just bring out the laser discs.
Oh.
Might as well throw a pizza at him in that case.
I would prefer that, yeah.
I know. I had a frozen pizza last
Join
night.
us next stream for a solid hour. We will just be throwing pizza at Tony.
Oh, God.
That'd be
And then I'm gonna
charity
eat it off
thing.
his body.
Pizza's yummy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the
As long as
marinara
you
sauce in his belly button and just dip it in there.
Oh my god, I'm gonna throw up.
These are people I work with every day.
What? You guys don't like marinara sauce?
I like marinara sauce, just not marinara sauce a la Tony.
It adds
You
a
saying there's
special kind
something wrong
of flavor,
with
dude.
Tony? Okay.
Look, I don't want it coming out fluffy.
Alright.
I don't know what you do with your belly button.
Ugh.
Don't worry, I'll come wash everything. It'll be fine.
Yes. Yeah, see?
Silent's gonna come take care of you, Tony.
It's a perfect pizza party. Everyone's happy. Except Tony. Maybe, I don't know.
But you never know. Tony might be. Who knows? All we're gonna see at the end of the show is Tony with his little black gloves, just lighting them up.
I'm
Gotta
looking
get on
at
that
him
plane.
He won't even need a plane. He'll probably just appear.
Like a ninja, just a little poof of smoke.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I would not be mad about going into warmer temperatures at this point, so
I don't blame you.
yeah.
Have you heard of yellow snow?
That's why
Jesus.
That's why I live in Florida. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's the
'Cause you
weather.
used to be from, was it Minnesota or Michigan, Silent, right?
Michigan, yeah. I'm originally
Michigan,
from
okay.
Michigan. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I thought you were from Florida.
No, I
Been like-
lived in Michigan for 30 years. I lived in
Okay.
Texas for 2, and yeah, I lived in Florida.
Nice. Do you think you'll ever move out of Florida, or is this probably where you're gonna stay for the long term?
I might move out of Florida one day, but
Get
you
out
know,
while
we'll
you
probably-
can.
So yeah, usually the goal
Yeah.
for people in Florida is
Florida
to
is
get
to-
out of it.
Yeah.
No,
I thought it was for
don't
people to go
mind
there
at
to
all.
die, wasn't it? Isn't it
Usually.
Well,
I've tried
Or
4
get eaten by an
times.
alligator,
I've
I
tried
don't
4
know.
times to leave this state, but I keep getting pulled back.
Florida is
Yeah.
its own
man.
Area 51.
Tony's
is.
telling me to be careful at the doctor when I go in on the first thing.
You need to be very
He's like, make sure you don't sign
Need
any
updates?
weird documents.
Yeah.
How did you end up
Oh,
in Florida?
boys.
It's funny. I was actually I have a family that lives in Florida here, and so what happened was I lived in Michigan, moved to Texas with my ex at the time, moved back to Michigan, and went through a winter basically. Couldn't stand it, and I actually had to change a tire. Like, we had a cold streak and it was, -4. The temperature was -4, and I had to change a tire in it. And I said, nope, we're done. Also, yeah.
God damn.
Also,
Just like that.
related to the job stuff I told you earlier, that was one of the cool things about the job. But I'm sure that you guys can also draw the conclusion that given those kinds of things are happening at the job, there's also a lot of downside about that job. So I wanted to kind of just get away from that, and so I started. Strangely enough, I started applying to jobs just in the southern area, and I got 3 callbacks and 3 interviews from positions in Florida, like right all around the same area. And I said, okay. So I got offered one of the jobs just over the phone, and then 2 jobs I still had to interview for. When I came down, I interviewed for the one job that that I hadn't been offered. I just it was an interview, and I ended up getting that job, and that's where I am today.
Speaking on that note, actually, so you applied out of state, obviously. What advice do you have for someone that is willing to relocate for a job? Like, should they ask anything about the position, if they'll do any reimbursing, or is that totally out of the applicant's pocket?
That's a good question.
I would think you'd have to have some semblance of your particular industry. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're applying for a position and you have a very specialized skill set and it's incredibly sought after, and a company would want you to move for them, then that's when it's safe to say, I do want reimbursement. Mm-hmm. As you move away from that, your negotiation level becomes less, because now you're putting the company at an inconvenience. So, for example, it would not be quite as, as palpable for someone that would, be applying for, factory work, or they would be applying for, clerical entry-level positions. You're just not going to have that level because the candidate pool is probably too large. Because not only are you inconveniencing the company really by being, out of state already, but then you're asking them to reimburse you when they could have just not had that expense at all. Mm-hmm. Given a local candidate.
So would you recommend, if you did apply out of state, just don't even bring it up that you're willing to relocate and just go with it?
Well, you can bring it up in your negotiation once you actually, let's say, get offered the position, or you're talking about the terms of the position, where you're discussing salary and you're discussing whatnot. At that point, then it's safe to bring up, because they've offered you the job knowing that you're out of state. But like I said, you're less likely to get it if you're going to, if they can easily pick a local candidate.
Gotcha.
Right on. That's good advice. That was a good question, man. Mm-hmm. That was a really good question.
Like, I've always wondered how that stuff works. Do the applicants just know that they're gonna move there and that's how it is, or do you have some room for negotiation?
Yeah, I mean, there's always room. I've negotiated at every position I've been in. Just to, because it's not. The thing about it is that in pretty much every circumstance, they're always going to offer you the lowest they're willing to offer you, because they're not going to, they're not going to, sure, they would say, yeah, of course we want a candidate that's going to, so I'm not saying that they're not going to pay you fairly, but they're going to probably, the first thing they're going to throw out is the lowest number where they think it's fair for you and, profitable for them. So, I mean, just to, and I'm not saying that once you get the number they're not going to say no, because they might have a number in mind, and that number is immovable. But at the same time, to ask, or to at least, say, I think based on this, and this, I'm worth this, or, get some extra perks or whatever. A lot of times that, an employer will work with you on that, especially if what you're asking is reasonable. It's just really on the candidate to know what their level of work is worth, and what they, why, and then what their personal worth is worth. So
Nice.
Excellent.
I could listen to you talk about this for hours, Silent.
Yeah, same.
No,
Silent needs to do a TED talk about this.
seriously,
man.
it would be helpful. I think that a lot of people could use advice like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's not taught in school.
Yeah.
It's like, writing a check or balancing a checkbook or taxes. The important shit that you never learn at school.
A lot of times in school, they put you under this impression 20 people are going to apply with the same experience, job level, blah blah blah, and you want to make sure that you have the correct grammar and everything, and of course you do, but like I said, I always draw people back to the cover letter, because the cover letter is what's going to tell somebody why they should hire you over others. It's very rare that I get 20 candidates in front of me that all have the same experience. So a cover letter isn't going to make me hire someone with 1 year of experience over someone with 10 years of experience if I'm looking for a very experienced candidate. But at the same time, a cover letter will explain to me why somebody underqualified would be applying to that position, because maybe they have some experience that doesn't belong on their resume, or why an overqualified candidate would apply to the position, even though we both know I'm not going to be probably giving them the salary that their experience demands. So.
Right.
Yeah. It's very important to make yourself stand out and exactly know what your worth is exactly. There have been many times where I've gone to a job and somebody who has had way less experience than, I know I can do this job. This person doesn't know what they're doing, but they'll get it. Of course, my personal problem is my appearance, having tattoos all over the place. So that's on me. I can't blame anybody for that. But,
I can and will.
because of that, though, I've had to really figure out ways to, make sure that they can look past that. It's everything he's saying, absolutely true.
Yeah, I accidentally wrote a really great cover letter for myself once, and it was for a job being on the phone with people, and the first time the guy called me, he heard my voice.
Oh,
and of course.
Nice.
Can we give you a CEO position?
Yeah, I guess
Right.
you got the job.
Nice. I like it.
Unfortunately, the job wasn't for me.
Oh,
But yeah.
that's too bad.
So Silent's right. You write a good cover letter, you can fandangle your way into anything. Because it was a job I had no experience with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't oversell yourself either.
All your cover letters for any voice gig should just be my voice.
It probably
Exactly.
will be.
Yes.
It'll be my voice in a 3.5-inch floppy with with a voice recording
just
on it.
send in a recording. That's all you got to do. Just send in a recording.
Yeah.
Here's an MP3 player from
A voice
2001.
cover letter. There you go.
A voice cover letter. I like it. Boys and girls, I think our time for the day is coming to an end, however.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I've
it
learned a lot
is.
today, though. So,
I wish we had more time today.
Yeah.
And make sure you check out Silentkaster at twitch.tv chat. He is amazing. You are experiencing first-class world-running extraordinaire, HR enthusiast, has a nice hat, also really sexy.
All of these things are true and more. Expand your universe with Silentkaster today.
Yikes. That's a lot to live up to. I hope I don't disappoint your viewers.
They watch us all the time. How could they not be? they can only go up from here.
Yeah, watching anything else is an improvement.
This is true.
Yeah, thanks for
The
coming on,
magic of
Silent.
Low expectations. Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really had fun. I really appreciate it. It was a great time.
Likewise, it always is. Thank you for filling in the gaps for us with everything speed running and growing a community and human resources. Oh,
Yeah, that was my
Thank
favorite
you for
part.
everything.
Of course.
that is my favorite.
I learned so much, dude.
That's
I know.
awesome.
I feel like anytime we talk to Silent about HR stuff, there's always all this stuff that we're just like, huh? That's a thing. You just feel
Yikes.
your brain going.
McDonald's manager, I'm coming for you.
There you go.
Hey, it's good job.
Take
Get
their
that
job.
nice gold name tag and the tie, bitch. Gimme.
You want ketchup? I'll give you 2.
Customer service.
That's right. But we would also like to thank those of you in chat and just hanging out with us and Silentkaster. Once again, be sure to check out Silent. He is a beautiful human being and a wonderful speedrunner, very, very skilled speedrunner. As for the rest of us, are we doing arcade this Tuesday, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Just
don't know what
checking.
we're gonna do yet, but we're gonna be there.
We'll figure it out.
We'll be there.
Awesome.
We'll turn the lights on and then the machines, and we'll figure out what we're playing then. But as always, thank you guys for joining us here in Secret Levels. It's wonderful to see your, text, because you don't have
Your
faces in
words.
chat, but that's okay. It's wonderful to see your words. You all have a very beautiful font.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Any last words, boys, before we go through them?
I like you.
Punk rock, I love you.
Be good to one another.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Be good. Be
Be
nice.
good.
Be excellent to each other.
Don't be a Jimmy.
Good advice.
Don't be a Jimmy. Don't be a Jimmy.
And remember, it's not snowing inside, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.